Oh, this is Mr. Hornsby 83. This is the Mr. Hornsby 83 show. And today I am going to be doing my review of Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 2. I'm going to talk about, and I'll remember all the names this time because it's still fresh in my memory because I just watched it last frickin' Thursday. I came home early last Thursday so I could watch it. But before I get into that, first of all, I want to talk. I appreciate how many people's watched the freaking Saturday Night Live show. That show's done pretty well. But I'm gonna take care of a few housekeeping things. One thing I want to get out there is you guys go check out the Clash of the Figures video that I just did this past Friday. It's a really good show. Had a twist ending. And, you know, I'll give you some of the backstory on it. Then I'll get into Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 2. Because this is probably going to be kind of a short review. But, so, some of the storylines I have built up were storylines that I had going last year when I was still on the Facebook fan page doing Facebook Lives. And one of those stories was one of the top title matches, which was the tag team title match between the Team Madness and the Outsiders. And what happened was, I was getting prepared last year to get ready for, I believe it was Great American Figure Bash, and it frickin' didn't come to fruition because Facebook screwed things up. I think it was like May or early June when that happened, and I didn't get back on like YouTube until what, middle of July last year, or the end of June. So yeah, but that was stemmed from a tournament I had set up that was gonna culminate at that show, and then Kevin Nash and Lex Luger were gonna take on Macho Man and Sid, so that Sid, and then what was going to happen was Lex Luger was going to turn on Kevin Nash. They just come off the Wolfpack storyline, and I was pretty much, and the story before that, last year's Wrestle Figure Mania, had a fatal 4-way match for the WCW Championship, and Kevin Nash cost Macho Man the title, because it was DDP, Nash, Hogan, and Macho Man. So yeah, been such a long year, I forgot a lot of stuff. So a lot of my backstory stuff and all the storylines for these wrestling figure events I'm doing on here. Go check out my Facebook fan page and you'll see what all these storylines led to and how they came to be. Also, because I also mentioned Vader had a WWE version of the World Heavyweight title during his match against Stunning Steve for the WCW International World Heavyweight Championship. So if you want to find out all the backstory, go watch the backstory on that stuff, and then you go watch the Wrestling Figure show, and you'll know why I had all these storylines built up, because they've been building for quite a while. Anyway, speaking of my Facebook fan page, so starting this past Sunday, I decided that what I was going to do was on Sundays start putting what I got in tap for the week. Now, probably at the end of this show, I'll announce what I got coming up for the next few weeks. Past next week. So after next week, because you guys will find out what's going on next week, but I'll let you guys know what's going on past next week. Which I kind of talked about Monday on the video as well. But, yeah, so I'll be posting my post every Sunday from here on in on what I got planned for the week. If plans change, I'll post it on the Facebook page to let people know the plans have changed. So, yeah, and I really want people to watch this frickin' show because I want to do Wrestle Figure Mania because I've already started building some of the big matches for Wrestle Figure Mania. So, come on, people. Go check out Clash of the Figures this past Friday. But this Friday, we'll be back with playthroughs. With playthrough of James Bond, The World Is Not Enough. And one more thing before I start the review of Cobra Kai. I know I'm not dragging this video out for ads and all that because my channel is not monetized. This is pretty much a hobby for me. I have opinions about things. I like to put my opinions somewhere. And I've been putting them on here. That's what I was doing when I first did this channel. That's what I was doing on the Facebook fan channel. And then that's what I'm doing again on this channel. But your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man just ended today. And I don't think I'll have any time, and you'll find out why I won't have any time to review the show. So what I'll do, you'll find out at the end of the video why I won't have any time to review the show. So what I'll do is I'll give you guys my thoughts on the show overall this Friday during the playthrough of World Is Not Enough. That game's tough and I'll have a lot to talk about anyway. Alright. Enough of that. Let's get into the Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 2. Now this part starts out with the funeral for Quan, who got killed by Axel at the end of Part 2. And everybody's at the funeral. Everybody's feeling bad that Quan died because they've been taking this karate thing too far. And the Senkai Tenkai was on hold, but Terry Silva wanted to continue to do the Senkai Tenkai. So, he went to the top guy of it, and he wanted it to get reinstated, but the guy said the only way I'll do that is if all the coaches that were still in, all the coaches that were still in agree to continue, or to come back. So, then we come to Johnny and Daniel. They're talking about it, and all the kids still want to do it. Johnny wants to still do it, but Daniel don't want to because of what happened to Quan. He's worried it might happen to either his kids or one of Johnny's kids or whatever, and he don't want to deal with that no more. Not to mention he's still dealing with the Miyagi mystery, which they really didn't put too much emphasis on that mystery this part. They put all the emphasis on the Part 2, and I think they put a little bit of emphasis on Part 1. But they didn't put too much emphasis on it in this part. But there's also a part in one of the later episodes where something happens, and I'll talk about that when I get to it. Something happens where he's having a vision and this and that. But yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute. So Johnny told Daniel, yeah, I really wanted to do it. I really want to win. But you know what? If you don't want to do it, that's fine and dandy. Which shows you how much Johnny's changed from season 1 to now. But he's like, I understand. It's all cool. I mean, the kids really wanted it too. But you know what? What happened? That could happen to one of them. So, it's all good. And then Terry Silver, who still wants the tournament to go on. I'll talk about Kreese and Sensei Kim in a minute. But Tony Silver, who wants the tournament to still go on, goes to Daniel's dealership, and instead of talking to Daniel about it, he talks to Johnny. Johnny says, you know what, I'll see what Daniel says. And then, then finally, I guess Johnny invites Terry to Daniel's house, and Terry tells him why he wants to continue it. And Johnny wants to continue it, and all the kids, and then Daniel's like, alright, we'll do it. And Terry Silver also revealed he was sick and dying. So, that explains why when Kreese recruited him, what was it, season 4? Yeah, I think it was the end, toward the end of season 4. That's why he was a shell of his former self. Well, he wasn't really that much of a shell of his former self. But he was more of a boring person than that. At the time, Kreese went and re-recruited him. So, his life had no meaning. His life was boring. Kreese knew he was bored. And Kreese convinced him to come back. And then, Terry turned on him. We all know that story. So anyway, the Senkai Tenkai, now let's get to Kreese and Sensei Kim, and her grandfather's having them train the new Cobra Kai recruits. But you could tell that Kreese, Sensei Kim, and the other Cobra Kai, even the guy that freaking Quan beat out to become the captain of Cobra Kai, was very sad and depressed about what happened to Quan, and they just didn't have their heart into fighting. And Kreese tells Sensei Kim's grandfather that he's gonna quit or retire or whatever, that he's done. And he says that Sensei Kim should not lead the new Cobra Kai team into the tournament with the way of thinking that her granddad has, but she don't conform to that way. So we get all that going, and first two episodes were pretty much getting everything started back up for the Sentai Tenkai. Tori wasn't going to compete again, but Sam convinced her to compete. Robbie had to train to try to beat Axel. And yeah, Sam convinced Tori. Yeah, I said Sam. Convinced Tori to come back. And Miguel and Ian and Hulk. Or wait a minute, is Hulk Ian? Yeah. What's the other kid's name? I don't know. But they used virtual reality to train to try to train Robbie. And it wasn't working, and he was terrible. But when Miguel had a pep talk with him, Miguel finally convinced him to give it his all and show why he was chosen as the captain for Miyagi-Do and all that stuff. So after that, that got all settled. So then there was a question of Cobra Kai, which we do see a good interaction with Johnny and Kreese, where Kreese is apologizing to everybody, and there's even a part where him and Sensei Kim have a moment where he I guess pretty much convinces her to take over Cobra Kai herself from her granddad and stand up to her granddad. He pretty much did that because her granddad wanted her to kill Kreese. But she didn't go to kill Kreese. She killed her granddad. And, if you've seen, I think it started in season 4. Or season 3. If you've seen how Sensei Kim's granddad treated her the whole time, from when she was a kid all the way up until even now, currently as an adult. She finally stood up to him. She finally took over Cobra Kai, and she finally wanted to teach the way she wanted to teach. She didn't like the No Mercy and all that stuff, and that Kreese and them agreed to, and that Silver agreed to, that everybody that was part of Cobra Kai agreed to. She didn't like that, but she finally stood up to her granddad. Kreese and her have one more moment after she kills her granddad. He leaves to go apologize to Johnny and all them. Then we get the part where Johnny's talking to him, and he's all sad because talking about the end of Karate Kid Part 1, going into the beginning of Karate Kid 2 before they went to Okinawa and freaking went against Chosen and his granddad. Also, speaking of Chosen, he got friended by Mitsu, or whatever her name is. Mitsu friended him. So he ended up, Daniel and his wife is trying to freaking get, and this is a pretty funny episode. Daniel and his wife trying to get Chosen a new date. We have Elizabeth Berkley. And I was excited. I'm like, oh yeah, Elizabeth Berkley, yeah. She has a pretty nice cleavage in that episode too. But apparently she did a tarot card reading because the date wasn't going well, and she wasn't interested in Chosen. Chosen wasn't interested in her, but he did become friends with her because she likes Storage Wars like he likes. So they became friends. But she shows that, there is somebody out there for him, and it looked like it was Sensei Kim. And he's like, I don't know, well, we go different paths. She's like, well, you never know. Love never has a certain path to go. Or something like that. And then Chosen, which I'll talk about Chosen and Sensei Kim at the end of the season when this part's over. So, by the way, this episode was 5 episodes. So then we get to the tournament. Robbie is taking on Axel, who he beats Axel, or he was doing good against Axel until Axel had to play dirty because Sensei Wolf and Terry Silver both told him to play dirty. So he played dirty, injured Robbie, and after that, pretty much after Robbie's injury, we also had Tori, who was leading for the Cobra Kai women's team, because she came back after Sam convinced her, because they trained together and all that stuff. Tori beat the other girl. I still can't remember that girl's name, but she beat the other girl, so she was the women's champion. There's also a moment where Kreese also says goodbye to Tori, because he was kind of like a father figure to her too. Says goodbye to Tori. And, she says, does it really have to be goodbye? He's like, yes, it does. And Kreese, when he was talking to Sensei Kim, he said, there's no mercy in the way, we've been thinking with this karate and all that. It's kind of become something that eats at you in life, and it's kind of become something that's so evil that, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, after that, he says bye to Tori. We get the moment with Johnny. And, he apologizes to Johnny. Johnny's all upset with him still because of how he treated him at the beginning of part 2. And called him a loser and everything. And he said, you were like a father figure to me and all that stuff. And I trusted you and that. Also, in between these episodes, Johnny and Carmen got married and had their baby. And I think they named the baby after Johnny's mom, who passed away, which they show in the final episode, which I'll talk about that when I get to it here in a sec. But, yeah. Now let's get to that scene with Daniel, where he's having a vision. And the thing is, Daniel's having a dream. He's fighting a bunch of skeletons, and you hear Miyagi's voice. It's like, Daniel-san, and then he, appears, use CGI to bring Pat Morita into the show, and him and Daniel start fighting the skeleton guys. Then he turns to Miyagi. He's sitting there shouting at him, asking him why he didn't tell him about the Tenkai and his dark past and all that stuff. And there's also a point where Daniel's mom gives her a pearl necklace, and apparently Miyagi must have stole it when he was younger. And I guess he gave it back to Daniel's mom when he, became acquainted with Daniel and his mom. But, anyway, after that, Miyagi says some stuff to him, and then Daniel just wakes up and forgets about it. And and then Miyagi-Do kind of drops out of the tournament. But, in that moment where Kreese and Johnny, Kreese is like, you know what, I got a way to make things up to you that might, get you to forgive me. And Johnny's like, oh, what's that? So, Kreese gives back Cobra Kai to Johnny after he stole it from him at the end of, I think it was season 1 or season 2. He stole it from him, and then he gives it back to him. And because Miyagi-Do kind of, dropped out, all that was left to stop the Iron Dragons was Cobra Kai. So we get the Cobra Kai. We get Johnny as the sensei of Cobra Kai again. We also get Miguel back with Cobra Kai to replace Quan. And heck, if they were going to choose anybody to replace Quan, Miguel was probably the best choice. Because I think Miguel was probably maybe just as skilled or maybe more skilled. A lot of people might think, there's no way. Was just as skilled or more skilled than freaking Quan. Anyway. So that's how one episode ends, and then we, get the point where Miguel fights Axel. Oh, also, before that fight happens, Terry Silver kills him or no, John Kreese kills him and Terry Silver. Somehow he got onto frickin' Silver's boat. I guess he took a boat there or swam there or something. And he got on the boat, them two fight. And it was clear that frickin' he was outclassed by Silver. But there was a point while they were fighting, they knocked over some gasoline and, Kreese is trying to get a cigar in that. And then he finally gets it. And he says mercy, it flicks it, and it blows up Terry Silver's boat. That's before Terry Silver was going to possibly get Carmen and Johnny's new baby freaking kidnapped. Because Miguel went on to beat Axel. Now, a lot of people didn't like that. And I got to say, I didn't have a problem with it. When it started out, freaking at first, Axel was just dominating Miguel. Well, actually, Miguel got him first. Then Axel came back and started dominating him. And then Miguel started dominating him again, but freaking Wolf and Kreese told them to go after his back that he injured at the end of season 1 when they had the big fight. And, all hell broke loose in that episode. So then Johnny takes off his headband, his black headband. It's kind of like what Miyagi did with the headband that he gave Daniel to fight with. Takes it off of his head, puts it on Miguel's head, and tells him, "You can do this. Whoop this guy's ass," or something like that. Beats the crap out. And then, Miguel beats Axel. And Axel didn't want to cheat because he looked over at Sam, and, because Sam showed him, sympathy and gave him a friend, even though he wanted to be more than friends with Sam. That's why I joked when I did the review of part 2 that the real villain of Cobra Kai was Daniel's daughter Sam, because, when the show started, she was with that one dude who bullied Miguel and him. Then she got with Miguel. And then when Robbie started hanging at Daniel's house a lot, she splits up with freaking Miguel, gets with Robbie, and caused what happened at the end of season 1 with Miguel and Robbie. And she caused Axel to kill freaking Quan at the end of part 2 of this. But anyway, because he took it the wrong way of her being nice to him. She was trying to be nice, but he wanted to be more than friends with her. But after Axel lost, Wolf was talking about how upset he was with frickin' Axel, and Axel said, "I should be upset with you trying to make me cheat and all that crap to win this thing." And then he walked away from the Iron Dragons and Wolf in that. I'm pretty sure him and the chick that was a part of the Iron Dragons is probably going to end up hooking up. They never show him again after that. But anyway, Robbie gets the win. And the thing that was best about this, because it was kind of a good emotional moment, like Johnny's like, think about everything you've been through. They showed the clips where, when he was getting bullied and Johnny trained him. They showed the clip where Johnny was helping him to recover his back. And they showed a few other things. That was a pretty emotional moment there. And that's what led Miguel to win. And you know what? It makes sense that Miguel would win because, pretty much it seemed like he was being built up to be the next Daniel. But he had a mixture of Daniel and Johnny in him. And then there was a point where they're like, oh, we're going to mix it like where Robbie is like the next Daniel and Johnny and all that, or the next Daniel. But he had a mix of Johnny and Daniel as well. Which led him on the right path, because if you watch the beginning of the show, Robbie was a freaking hoodlum as a kid. Before, he got into karate and all that with his dad, then he Kreese, then with Daniel, with Daniel first, then it was his dad, then it was Kreese, and then it was Silver. So, yeah. Only makes sense that it would be Miguel to win. I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably predicted it. Miguel was kind of the star of the show as far as kids go. Him and Daniel's daughter. That's why he ended up hooking up with Sam. But you know what? If Tori was a consolation prize for Robbie, that was a good consolation prize to have. Because, you know. But anyway. So, after that, we find out that Cobra Kai is now tied with the Iron Dragons. So it has to come down to the senseis. Johnny and Wolf. And at first Johnny was kind of nervous. It's kind of like how Daniel was in the first fight with Johnny and them, and also how he was in the fight with Mike Barnes. But I think it gets chosen. He wasn't really scared. He was just trying to save Mitsu. But because I don't think he really showed any signs of being scared of freaking Chosen throughout the show. Or throughout the Karate Kid 2. But he was scared of Johnny and him, and he was scared of Mike Barnes. But anyway, Daniel's motivating him, saying, look, man, you can beat this guy. He's like, yeah, but this guy's younger, faster, you know, and all that stuff, and etc., etc., etc. Well, I mean, look at Daniel and frickin' Johnny when they took on Kreese and Silver. Those guys were older than them, and they freaking got their butts handed to them by those guys. I mean, Johnny got his butt kicked by Kreese. It took Daniel and Johnny to kick Kreese's butt. Daniel, with a little bit of help from Johnny, also kicked Terry Silver's butt finally, and got that payoff from Karate Kid 3 that he never really got with freaking Silver. But, yeah. So, Johnny's like, you know what? And then, like, they do the whole Rocky montage thing and all that stuff. Daniel, you know, at the point, even during the fight, even before the fight, because Wolf's cocky, and he's like, you know what? I can still beat you. Johnny went at him. He's, like, hurt his arm a little bit. And Johnny was nervous at first. And, you know, Daniel and them did wear the Cobra Kai gi. Daniel and Chosen, because Daniel trained Johnny to face Sensei Wolf. And, one of the key things that Daniel told Johnny was the reason why Johnny got beat by the crane kick is because he ran right into it, which he did. You know, because, you know, Daniel's just standing there like that, and Johnny's just like, you know, he got impatient and ran at Daniel, and that's what caused him to lose the fight. So Daniel was pretty much saying, hey, had you not ran in that kick, you might have still won. But the final episode, it shows, you know, Johnny after he lost, I guess, to Daniel, and he's at his mom's grave, and he's talking about how he's a loser and all that stuff, and, you know. But then, after he beat Sensei Wolf in the final fight, which Daniel had to motivate him the Cobra Kai way, and which Chosen told him to do. So after he beat him, he went on to his mom's grave again, but this time, instead of, you know, soaking and crying and all that stuff, he put a picture of his whole family, his whole new family he has now, that he made through the run of this show, with even patching things up with Daniel, finally becoming friends with Daniel. And, you know, his stepson's going to be marrying Daniel's daughter, probably. His other son has his girl, and, you know, so pretty much a happy ending. He puts the picture up of his new family, which I thought was pretty cool. Also, Johnny used one of his buddies from the original Karate Kid movie, because now he's a pastor. Used his buddy to marry him and Carmen. So I thought it was a good ending, pretty good ending to the show. I know a lot of people were complaining about Robbie, but you know what? I think Robbie had a good ending. I mean, him and Tori are going to be together, I guess, doing a social media thing for karate. And, you know, Robbie got what he's been wanting from his father all this time, a good relationship with him now. And he also met Daniel and them and became friends with them, and he's got them behind him and supporting him and all that stuff. And, you know, he's got Tori. But anyway, Daniel did talk the landlord for where Cobra Kai was down on the price so that Johnny could teach there again, which is where he taught Miguel and Tori. Mainly taught Miguel because I think Tori had already won her fight by that point. I don't know, maybe she hadn't yet. But he taught him to get better, and then at the end we see Johnny's running Cobra Kai again. He's still got the motto that they use. But he also says, yeah, this motto is good, but don't let it consume your life or something like that. And to, there's another way. You guys, when you train here, then you go over to Miyagi-Do and you learn defense and all that stuff. He's pretty much saying his school teaches you good offense and that. And he's saying that Daniel's school will teach good defense. But overall, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed the ending for all the kids, and I was, glad Miguel won. Because Miguel, like I said, Miguel was the heart of the show. And, even though I joked that Daniel's daughter was like the freaking villain of the show, she was the heart of the show as well. And I think the show was really good, had a really good ending. I think everything turned out pretty good. We saw Johnny go from where he was in season 1 to where he is now. He was still living in that mentality he had at the end of the Karate Kid movies. And I think it was a good redemption arc for Johnny. It's kind of like how, compared to anything, it's like how in Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta started out as a major villain. One of the worst villains of Dragon Ball Z. And then through time, he became a good person and became a better person and all that stuff. That's pretty much what it was with Cobra Kai. Johnny becoming a better person. Kreese even became a better person. And anybody who's seen the original Karate Kid movies knows how much of a heel Kreese was. The only one that really didn't change was Terry Silver. Even since they killed him, she changed. And when she did kill her granddad said something about this is how you take over and you're going to take over, you're not afraid anymore and all that. And she pretty much showed when she killed him. He said, perfect. So, I guess he wanted her to stand up to him and take over the Cobra Kai dojo. I don't know. Or the Cobra Kai karate style. I don't know. But overall, the whole show was good. I've watched it all the way from season 1 all the way up to this. And it's one of my favorite current shows they came out with in a long time. I haven't enjoyed a good show like this, watching it bit by bit. I guess I'd probably say since Legion, which I just finished rewatching Legion on frickin' Hulu on Disney Plus. Well, through Disney Plus, which I'll probably have a review of that coming up sometime soon. I was going to watch it Gifted, but I'm like, oh, there's like 12 episodes of that. And Legion took me longer than I thought it would take. I thought it would take me like maybe a week to get through. Because season 1 has 8 episodes. Season 2 has like 10. Season 3 has like 8. Oh yeah, this will be done in a week. Because I watch a good number of shows. And boy, I was wrong. But you know what? I'll re-review that when it gets to X-Men month, because Legion is a part of X-Men, and I'm going to talk about, a lot of things I hope they do with Legion in the future. And, with all that. But the Gifted, really, the only big name character I really knew from that show was freaking Polaris. The only big name X-Men character in that show was Polaris. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'll still watch The Gifted. Probably sometime next month I'll go through it and get ready for, or maybe I'll watch it in April. Who knows? But for right now, I am not watching The Gifted right now. It's 2 seasons. 12 episodes. I think 12 episodes per season. So I don't know. I might get a break. Especially after just getting done with Legion. But originally, the shows were supposed to cross over, because season 3 of The Gifted was supposed to coincide with season 3 of Legion, where the Gifted characters were supposed to go help Sid and all them take down David. David or Shadow King, I don't know. Which I'll talk about that when I review that show for X-Men month. It'll still be fresh, because you know what? I know that show. I remembered everything about that show from the moment I restarted it All the way up till the final episode. Anyway. So yeah. Got done with Legion. Now, before I end this video is going a little longer than I was hoping it would, but overall, Cobra Kai, as the whole show, I'll just give the whole show a rating. I give it a 5 out of 5. I mean, I think 3 was the weakest season. This season was weak too, but it wasn't terrible. Neither was season 3. But I really loved the show overall as a whole. And like I said, that was the last big show. I mean, yeah, I watched Mayans, but, you know, Mayans, you know, I wasn't as hooked on Mayans as I was when the Legion was out at that time. But, you know, still waiting for those Sons of Anarchy spin-off shows. But anyway, so that's my thoughts on Cobra Kai season 6 overall and the show overall. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. Even though I thought season 3 was weak and season 6 was weak, there was still enough good stuff to keep me watching this show. Will they do spin-offs? I don't know. I'm going to go watch the new Karate Kid movie that comes out this year with Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio and see what that's all about. I'm pretty sure it's going to dive back into the mystery of Miyagi somehow. So, we'll see how it goes. Because Miyagi really didn't explain too much to Daniel in that dream. He just said some things, some pretty words to, you know, throw Daniel off of what he was going to say. Yeah, but anyway. Yeah. Now, what do I have coming on tap for the next weeks after next week? Well, I'm eventually going to do the Monday Night War project again. I'm going to redo it here on YouTube. I'm going to start from the beginning and all the way to the end now that I finally finished it. Because I started that project last year. Or no, I started it a couple years ago. I'm going to revisit that. I'm going to, now that I finally finished it, I finished it at the end of last year. I was like, man, I got to get this done before Raw goes to Netflix. So I did. So I finished it. I plan on revisiting it sometime. Also got Batman month coming up and X-Men month, which are both going to be, it's going to be April and May. Probably going to have some wrestling figure reviews because there was a lot of wrestling figures we've purchased over this past season. And during Batman month, I am going to review the Batman full movie line figures, which is Batman and Robin and Batman Forever. X-Men month, I'll talk about Legion. I'm also going to talk about my predictions for X-Men 97 Season 2 because apparently it might be coming on this year, probably the end of this year, after all these other Marvel animations are done. Now that Spider-Man's out of the way, I think we got a Black Panther show, then we got the Marvel Zombies, and then we got something else in animation. I think it's Armored Wars or something like that. I don't know. Something. But, yeah, like I said, I'll give all my thoughts on the Spider-Man stuff on the playthrough this Friday. As for playthroughs, after I finish the James Bond games, I'm going to start doing playthroughs of wrestling games. Because it's going to be Wrestle Game Mania, because we'll be full swing in the WrestleMania season when freaking Elimination Chamber is finally done. So, Wrestle Game Mania, I'll start building toward Wrestle Figure Mania, especially if more people watch the freaking video that I did Friday. Also, check out the video Monday where I talked about the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary. And, you know, that video's doing pretty good. I didn't expect it to do that good. But, you know what? Doing pretty good. So, yeah, check out all that. And then tune in Sunday. I'll have post what I got set up for next week. Because you know the playthrough of GoldenEye is coming next Friday. Not this Friday. Because I got World is Not Enough. But the playthrough next Friday will be Bond. And then I'll get into wrestling games. And then I'll probably transition into some Rockstar games. And maybe some, probably transition into the Grand Theft Auto games. Because it'll be probably close to summer. So, anyway, that'll do it. Please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe for more. Let me know your thoughts on Cobra Kai, the whole show, and Season 6, Part 1, 2, and 3. Let me know, or just comment anything else. Like someone on my AEW video commented that they hope my channel does well, and hope my channel gets big and I can, I guess he enjoyed it. But anyway, that'll do it. There has been some toy news. Like Demolition has signed a Legends deal with WWE. Finally, we're getting Demolition again. Hopefully they re-release the original ones, so I can pick those up, because I got the Crush for my son a while back, but I couldn't find Axe or Smash. So if we can get Crush, Axe, and Smash, that'll be great. I also found the Farouk APA figure at Toy Department. But yeah, got some reviews coming up. I'll show off how the WCW belt, the WCW International World Heavyweight Championship looks down the road. I'm also going to do some more belt comparisons, but I'm not, I want to take a break because I've done a lot of wrestling figure belt videos lately. Like, I compared the Toy Biz one to the Mattel one. I did the Jax videos. That's another one I didn't think would do so well, but it was pretty popular. Me and my wife got it painted and got it re-leathered. But I'll show that off and compare it to the Toy Biz version of what I was using for that belt. But not till later. Also gonna do some things where, I take, figure belts and put them side by side and say, which one's more prestigious? Because I did that, a couple times last year when I came back on YouTube. I also did it on Facebook a couple times too, so I'll probably do it on here again. Like, which one's more prestigious, this one or this one? But anyway, I also picked up the Batista Ultimate Edition, hoping to have the Lex Luger soon. And I pre-ordered the Hollywood Hogan Ultimate Edition because the Undisputed Belt is normal size. But that'll do it. Catch you guys later. Don't forget to tune in Friday for the playthrough of James Bond, The World Is Not Enough. Go check out the Clash of the Figures, because I really want that video to do well, so I can be excited to do Wrestle Figure Mania and then the other two wrestling figure shows I have after that. But anyway, that'll do it. Catch you guys later. Peace out.